You know, at the end of the day, every kid deserves a shot, a chance to grow, to build some character, to learn resilience through sports. And that shouldn't depend on how much money their family has. But let's be real, in today's world, that's often not how it works.
So that brings up this really tough question. Are sports becoming a luxury item, only for those who can afford the price of admission? Imagine you're a parent, and you see all this potential in your kid. The last thing you want holding them back is a price tag. But for so many families, that's the reality.
There's a name for this, the pay-to-play model, and it's this quiet, invisible wall that's keeping so many kids on the sidelines. It means all those incredible life lessons you get from sports, teamwork, discipline, learning how to win and how to lose, they're starting to feel like things you have to buy.
So let's really dig into this pay-to-play problem for a minute. What are we actually talking about here? What happens when something as fundamental as character development comes with a price tag?
Well, first off, the costs can be absolutely jaw-dropping. We're talking thousands of dollars a year. For one kid, you've got the specialized coaching, the right equipment, the club fees, the travel. It all adds up so fast that it just completely prices families out of the game.
But the real cost, the one that really hurts, isn't just about money. When a kid can't play, they're losing out on so much more. They're missing a place to build character, to develop that grit and emotional resilience they're going to need in life. They lose access to positive role models. For a lot of kids, sports are a sanctuary, a safe place to grow. And when that door gets locked, a whole support system just vanishes.
Okay, so that's the problem. But here's the good news. There are incredible alternatives out there. So what's the game plan? Let's talk about how to find these amazing, high-quality, and totally free programs.
Now, finding these places takes a little know-how, right? They don't usually have massive advertising budgets. But it's actually pretty straightforward. Here are 3 simple steps to get you started. First, check out the police athletic leagues, or PAL programs. Second, just pop into your local community and rec centers. And third, do a search for specialized youth foundations in your area.
Each of these has its own unique superpower. The police athletic leagues, they're often run by coaches who are pillars of the community, people you can trust. Your local community center might have some fees, but here's a tip. They almost always have scholarships or fee waivers if you just ask. And then you have these youth foundations. They're often completely funded by donors, which means they can provide everything, and I mean everything, from gloves to headgear, for free.
So now that we have a map of where to look, let's zoom in on one sport in particular, boxing. Because this isn't just about getting physically fit. Boxing has this incredible way of building a kid's mind and spirit in a way that's, well, pretty unique.
It all starts with this idea of hyperpresence. I mean, think about it. Our kids are growing up in a world of constant pings, notifications, and social media pressure. Boxing forces you to be 100% in the here and now. You can't be worrying about a test or what someone posted online when you're focused on the rhythm of a speed bag. It's this incredibly grounding experience and a powerful weapon against anxiety.
And this gets to a really deep philosophical point. There's a huge difference between discipline and punishment. See, punishment is something done to a child, but the discipline you learn in boxing, that's a strength you build inside yourself because you're working towards a goal you actually care about. It's like building internal armor instead of just reacting to external fear.
Now, let's tackle the elephant in the room. Does boxing make kids more aggressive? The truth is, it's often the exact opposite. So much aggression comes from feeling powerless. But when a kid learns they have the strength and control to move a 200-pound heavy bag, they don't feel that need to prove themselves in negative ways anymore. It gives them power, but in a totally controlled and positive way.
Okay, this next part is for every parent out there, because it's probably the most important question of all. Let's talk about safety, because any program worth its salt puts safety above absolutely everything else.
So, let's just ask it, plain and simple. Is boxing safe for kids? It's the question every single parent is thinking, and the answer really depends on the gym's entire philosophy, its culture of safety.
A good, reputable gym will always follow what you could call brain-first training. The first few months are all about technique, footwork, shadow boxing, working the bags. There's zero head contact, period. When sparring is eventually introduced, it is super controlled, always supervised, and uses mandatory high-quality safety gear. The goal is never, ever violence. It's about self-mastery.
So you've got the skills, you've got the safety protocols down, but there's one more piece to this puzzle. And honestly, it might just be the most important part of all. It's the community that wraps itself around these kids. And right at the center of that community is the coach. For so many of these kids, their coach is the most consistent, reliable, and trusted adult in their life. That mentorship, that's the secret sauce. This is what fills that huge gap left by the pay-to-play model. It's the kind of support money can't buy. Every lesson on throwing a jab is also a lesson in respect and sticking with it.
And the impact here is huge. I mean, just look at one organization, the Equal Chance Boxing Foundation. They've already trained over 500 young people. That just shows you what a massive difference one single dedicated program can make in a community.
And the results? They really do speak for themselves. A 95% completion rate. That is absolutely incredible. It shows that when you give kids this kind of structure, this kind of mentorship, and a positive outlet for their energy, they don't just show up, they commit. They see it all the way through.
And this is a real journey. It doesn't happen overnight. A kid starts out just learning the absolute basics, like footwork and discipline. 6 months in, they're mastering technique on the bag. A year in, they might start some supervised sparring. And then, after a couple years, that same kid becomes a leader, mentoring the next group of new faces walking in the door. It's a beautiful cycle.
Which brings us to the core truth of how this all works. For the kid who walks through that door, everything is free. The coaching, the gear, the mentorship, all of it. But it's not free to provide. It takes a community of supporters, what they call a corner man in boxing, to stand in that corner and cover the costs. And that really leaves us with this one powerful idea. Thousands of kids out there are already in a fight against poverty, against anxiety, against a lack of direction. They're looking to their corner for support. The only question left is, are we going to be there for them? Don't let these kids fight alone.